Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello, hello. What's going on, Patrick? Good afternoon, Jennifer. Good afternoon. How you doing? I have good news. I have good news in a way. Kind of bittersweet in a way, and I just want to give you a victory report. Give you a victory report in regard to my son Daniel, and I just want to also just caution you and just encourage you for those who are going through something, because if you look at all of us, we're going through something in life. That's just life. The Bible says that it rains on the just as well as the unjust. In other words, stuff happens, troubles happens, and we are really not exempt from trouble that's happening and situations happen. But the thing about it, the difference between those who know God and those who don't, we have someone to lean on. We can lean on God when we're in trouble. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you. Yeah, he's recovering. He's recovering. Well, one of the things I would like to say about Daniel, he's getting better every day. He gets out Friday, which is a good thing. He leaves Friday, then he comes home, and then he has to go through the rehab episodes. Today was a kind of a bittersweet day because Daniel, he had a chance to, they took him down to my car and just to see how he gets in and out of the car. And he did real good. He did real good with it. He did real good at it, but he didn't want to get out. He wanted to go home then because he'd been at the hospital for about 25 days, 26 days or something like that. Wednesday will be 4 weeks. So he's been there a while and he didn't want to get out. And he was happy at the same time, sad also because right now he can't walk. And so, the emotions, and he sat there and when he left, because I had to hit the road and come back home because I had to take care of some business, then I kind of got a little teary-eyed because, as a father, one of the toughest things in this life, you can't protect your kids from everything. That's when you have to trust in God, because I'm the kind of father, I can protect my family and my kids from everything. I think I can, but I'm not God. But I try my best to protect them. And when you get to a place where you can't protect your families, your kids from hurts, it's painful because you want to be there for them, you want to protect them. But the reality of it is that they got to go through their own pain, they got to go through their own suffering, they got to go through their own dilemmas and things of that nature. And, they have to go through it. As a parent, you hate to see your kids suffer. As a parent, you want to protect them. But if you're trying to protect them too much, then you will cripple them where they don't know how to protect themselves. So, they have to bump their head sometime. They have to cry sometime. And so a lot of times what I do, I sit back in the background just waiting on when they need me. I know they're going to bump their heads and they're going to learn a lot, through trial and error. The same thing I told my son when he went to college as a freshman, and I told him about life. Life is about choices. It's about choices. When we put everything we can in you about God and what's right, and then when you're out there by yourself, then it's up to you. We can't be there to tell you what to do, but you have to know what to do. And hopefully, the things that I've taught you, your mother taught you, his mother taught him, it'll ring in his head when he get in those situations where he have to make those choices. So that's where you have to get where, as a parent, you have to get where you trust the God in them, that you put enough in them. You put God enough in them, and now what's in them has to operate because they're by themselves. And I remember when I first went to college as a little kid, young, 17, 18 years old, and I had to figure things out. I had to figure it out. You know, I bumped my head and I made mistakes, but I kind of, you know, it took me a while, but I figured it out. And so the same thing with Daniel, God is healing him in stages, and it is taking time. You know, we want to rush his healing, but we can't. It takes God. And, you know, when you're in a situation like this, when something has happened that you didn't expect, you didn't anticipate, because my son's a healthy boy, athlete. And, you know, I'm his biggest fan. Just all of a sudden it happened. All of a sudden. It happened all of a sudden. He was at school one day, foot went to sleep, and he went to stand up and he fell. And then he had numbness in his left leg, went up. Then he had numbness in his right. You know, he didn't do nothing wrong. And then I even examined myself, saying to myself, God, did I do something wrong? You know, I thought I served you, you know, and I know it's not about me, but it's about God. It's about God. But I've examined myself and trying to examine and make sure I'm doing everything right, and, you know, make sure I'm saying everything right, and all those things. But it's, you know, this is a crossroad, and this is something that, in order to have a testimony, you have to have some tests. And when you're going through your test, you got to be careful of how you're going through your test and how you're talking, your attitude in your test. You know, that's what I think when I think about even Job. Job, his attitude, even though he was going through all he's going through, he lost everything, you know, his family and everything. He lost everything. Even his friends came to him and sat for 7 days, then gave him bad advice. And one of the things that when things like this happen, you know, you have people thinking, well, what you do wrong? He did something wrong. He sinned or something like that. You know, that's the person that, you know, the ignorant person that thinks that. And even the person that thinks that, well, you know, the person that's going through something like this, be careful how you hold your mouth. Be careful what you say. See, because just like you run in your mouth, or if you get the self-righteous thing on your back, that same thing that you're talking about, that person that's going through, it can come back on you. It can definitely come back on you. Amen. That's the Bible. Men are the affliction of the righteous, but God will. The amen, Pastor. It can come back. And so we got to hold our mouth right. We can't charge God or blame God. It ain't God's fault. Stuff happens, but God will be there. And oftentimes, in order to have a testimony, you got to go through a test. You got to go through some tests. And so this is our testimony that God is developing and bringing out of us, bringing through us, teaching us, giving us strength at each turn. When, you know, just be honestly, when you're going through something like this, you feel all alone. You feel like the clock is ticking. You feel like, woe is me. You know, you feel so helpless, and you have to turn to God. You have to seek God in a situation like this. And so that's what I've been doing. And I'm exhausted. I'm drained. All of my family is drained and exhausted. But the joy of the Lord is our strength. And I'm holding on to that I trust God. And, you know, the Bible tells us to fight the good fight of faith. It's a fight. It's a fight to keep faith, because everything that's not faith will come at you. Thoughts will come at you. Fear will come at you. Friends, enemies, and everything will come at you. You can look at the condition and look at the circumstance, you know, because it's almost like even what Pastor Bobby Thomas talked about, you know, we become programmed as sin. When sin came into this life and into the world, we've been programmed to gravitate to that which is wrong. But why not program your mind to do what's right, to have faith? What is faith? It's believing God. It's believing God when you can't see it. It's believing God when you can't feel it. It's believing God. You might even don't even get a confirmation. The doctor might say something totally opposite. The doctor might say something negative, that you're sick and you can't get healed, or the doctor might say, oh, this person can't walk, or this person ain't gonna do this. But we don't live by what the doctors say. The doctor got to do what they got to do, and we do what we got to do, and that's to just live by faith and pray and believe God. That's all we can do. All we can do is just believe God. The rest is up to God, and so it becomes a waiting game. And in that waiting game, there's so many things that you have to encounter, that the emotions. Everybody's temperamental because you're emotional. Because you're turning to God. You're knowing that God is going to answer, but you're knowing it, you believe in it, you're knowing it, but then you got to wait for the healing. You got to wait for the time. And as a 13-year-old, that's hard. And as a father who can't take it away, it's only going to take God that's going to heal him. Then it's just, you have to wait. And just my main thing as a dad that God has required me to do is just be dad, just be there. Not just my words, not my phone calls, but he needs my presence. And so when he go to bed at night, a lot of times before he go to bed at night, I'm there. I'm there. I'm tired, worn out. Not much help, physically. So, my wife does the best she can. We have visitors. But as being the father, I'm always there, tired, worn out. But I got to be there. Got to be there. And then once he closes his eyes, I go home. My wife had to work in the morning, get back up early in the morning every day, 7 o'clock, 7, 8 a.m., fight the traffic. And when he opened his eyes, I'm there. Just talking to him, letting him know how he's doing, rubbing and praying on his legs and praying, God heal him, saying the same thing over and over again. And over again, I'm trying not to be frustrated. I know what God is doing and rubbing his head and, and rubbing his legs and just praying. And so that's all I know how to do is pray. That's all, when you're in a situation, when you're in trouble, when you're under pressure, what God is doing, God just wants you to pray and seek him. He don't want you to try to figure it out. He don't want you to try to rationalize it or blame yourself or try to self-diagnose what's going on. All you can do is pray. Of course, get information on what's going on. But there's a difference between a fact and a truth. The fact is that my son, he can't walk right now. But the truth is, God said by his stripes, he's healed. He was bruised for our iniquity, and he was wounded for our transgression, bruised for our iniquity. By his stripes we heal. Healing is the children's bed. The truth is, God said he's healed. And so I'm believing what God has said. And he's truth. And truth is greater than a fact that was created by this world system. Because the truth, God is the truth. The word, he created this world. He created my son's body. He created my body. He created all of our body. And the same body, the same spine, the same legs that God created, he can recreate it. And all I got to do is just believe in him. He said in the word through all through the Bible, according to your faith, be it done unto you. According to your faith, not the faith of your friend, not the faith of your mother, but your faith. If you can believe it, if you can believe that God said that if you believe that he can heal, he can do it. Let's take him at it. The woman that had the issue of blood, she got in the press because she had an issue of blood. She had a problem, but she heard that Jesus was in town and that the healer was there. And so she pressed her way through the crowd and she got knocked down and everything, but she kept on moving till she got to him. And so that's what you have to do. When you know that God has said that you're healed, when you know that God has said you're going to be blessed, you got to press your way through the crowd of discouragement, the crowd of your mind tell you that it ain't going to happen, it ain't going to take place. You're looking at your circumstance, you're looking at all of that. You got to still press your way. And in your mind, you got to see it in your mind. You got to see your healing in your mind. And you got to see the moment that you reach out to God in your faith. If I could just touch and reach out to him, I'm going to be made whole. And that's is where I'm at right now. I don't have no more energy. All that energy I have is just to trust God. And I know if I keep pressing, he's going to fix it. And he's the answer. And I just want to encourage y'all today and just press your way and cry out to God. And the thing that God hears a broken heart. And my heart is broken. It's broken. But I trust him. He said he will not despise a broken spirit and a contrite heart. It's not about me. My simple prayer that I've always asked God, see him walking. Now I see him walking, and God is going to do it. It's my simple prayer. I've dedicated my whole life to serving God. I ain't been perfect. But whatever I got to do for my kids, I'll do it. Whatever I got to say for them. Because it's not about me, it's about him. And me seeing him cry today, even though he's excited, does something to me. So trust God. Talk about real issues and real situations. This is real. Nothing fake about it. And one of the things that I do know is that God is raising up his people. God is raising up doers, people who've been tried, people who've been tested, people who have a testimony, a real testimony. And God is raising up and God is bringing forth notable miracles, miracles that you can document, miracles that you can see. Ain't no game, ain't no gimmick, ain't no show, but it's real. It's real. And that's what God is raising up. God is raising up people who've been tested, who's been drugged through the mud, who's been through all kind of stuff. I go to the hospital every day, and I feel like they're my family because many of them, they're in the same boat I'm in. They scared, they nervous, they believing and trusting God. And so when you get to the place where you just got to trust God, I believe based on the word, God will answer. When you move out of pride, when you move out all those things and just lay before God and cry out and be willing to give everything, whatever it is. Even Abraham, he was willing to give his only son, because God told him. And so I'm at a place where whatever I need to give, I'm going to give it for God. Because he's a prophet. God chose him. And so I want y'all to be encouraged. I'm encouraged. I'm just happy and moody and all those things. But it's all part of it. It's real, though. It's all part of life. It's life. It's not the TV. TV is not always real. But the stuff that people go through behind the scenes that you don't hear about, that's not publicized, that's not broadcast, that's what's real. God is healing people. God is delivering people that people don't know about, don't get no kind of notoriety or nothing like that. Nothing. But, I mean, that's what's changing people. That's what's saving people. A situation like this that I'm going through, that to be an example that somebody's going through the same thing, to know that God is real and he can do it. But you just got to wait. You got to keep believing. And some people say it's not faith to keep praying the same thing over. Who said that? Why not keep praying it? Why not keep praying it? The Bible says ask. He didn't say keep how many times you can ask. Keep asking. I'm asking. I'm begging. I'm praying. I'm crying out. I'm broken. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. I am broken. I am broken. And Daniel, he's my heart. He is definitely my heart. It's my boy. So be encouraged. God bless you.